Hey guys, I'm Chase Brogan. Today in this video, we're going to dive into and tour through this 12 terabyte Hyperspin plug and play game drive that I found on AliExpress for $169. Now, just to get this out of the way, for the newcomers here that are not used to emulation drives or anything like that, you connect this over to a PC. You will need a PC in order to run this. It's not going to connect to a TV directly or a game console. You're going to need to have a PC. And if you want to play everything included on here, a pretty powerful PC in order to get this up and running. So the way that this works is you have this right here. This is the game drive itself. It comes in an external hard drive enclosure. It's got a cooling fan built into this. So in order to get this up and running, you're going to first connect your power supply cable to it. That is provided for you in the box. This powers on the hard drive enclosure and the cooling there. And then you need this guy right here. This is a USB-A to Type-C cable. It's going to connect over to your PC. You have USB-A on one side and then Type-C, which is going to be the end that plugs directly into the enclosure here. So 12 terabyte hard drive within here. We're going to go ahead and dive into this, boot up my PC, and see what this has to offer. All right, guys, here we are loaded up into our 12 terabyte Hyperspin setup today. So if we start scrolling through here, you can see first and foremost, we land on the all games list. Now in the bottom left corner, you can see there's 102,704 total games on here, which is insane. Now, I believe we're going to have a lot of duplicates, but I'm not certain. So we're going to comb through this. Next is our favorites collection, followed by recently played. Recently played is going to be up to 50 of your last games played on here. So it's just an easy way to dive into what you've been recently playing on here. Basically just easy access. Same deal with favorites. Favorites, you're going to customize this collection to your favorite games. Again, with the idea being that you want to easily access those. Now we have settings here. We have controls. We have credits. We have contact info here, and then we have exit. This is how you're going to exit out of this if you want to get back to, regular Windows on your PC and go about your business doing something else. And that's the best way to do it. You don't want to just cut the power on your PC. You can definitely end up corrupting your hard drive that way. So now we start diving into the collections. Now, mind you, there are a wide range of different collection types here. We have franchise collections like Altered Beast, for example. There's 22 Altered Beast titles in here. So you're going to have different versions of the same games. You're going to have different games all together. But we also have console collections in here, like the GX 4000 Amstrad right here. We have 25 games that belong to this console release. We have Angry Birds here, which is a franchise collection. And then we have Apple II, which is another console collection, or what I would call a console collection anyways. Same thing with Atari 2600, 5200, 7800, and so on. All of these are console collections here, which is what I love to go through. I love the way that this is laid out. It's a beautiful setup on here. We have graphics for each of these consoles, each of these titles. So it's really cool here. And you can see the game count flashing in the bottom left corner for each of these. Now this is 12 terabytes. This is stacked. So we're going to kind of be going rapid fire here today. I don't want to dive into each one of these, or it's going to take just an insane amount of time. But we have Wonder Swan Color. We have baseball and basketball games on here. So these are a genre of game that is its own collection. So it's kind of a cool way to navigate things. This is all Batman titles, so 96 different Batman titles. If we jump into this, I'll show you what it looks like within. We get a video preview for each title. So that was the arcade version of Batman right there. So love that game. But if we go down, we have Return of the Joker here, which is NES. If we go down again, we have Batman Returns right here for Atari Lynx. And you're going to see that there are different versions. Like this one right here is the same game as what we saw up here, but it belongs to a different collection. So it's a different version of the same game. Same thing here. We have the Game Gear version now. Here we have Sega Genesis. Batman Returns for Genesis as well. Revenge of the Joker again, but now this is the Super Nintendo version. Very different than what we saw in the previous two versions. So there are technically, multiples of the same game, but I don't consider that a duplicate because it belongs to a different collection. So it's a different version of the same game. And some people are going to want to play this game, on this system here. Some people are going to want to play it on this system here. It's all personal preference, but this setup really has something for everybody. So regardless of what you're into, you're going to be covered here. We have Battletoads collection. We have beat 'em up games. Inside here, there's what, 11, looks like 1,184 games in here. That's pretty sick. Bomberman, Bomb Jack. We have Bootleg. We have boxing classics down here. That's pretty cool. So a wide range of different boxing titles like Final Blow, like Punch Out, etc. Let's keep it moving though. So lots of really unique collections to choose from and titles within those collections. So lots of Capcom in here. It's broken down much more in depth than just Capcom System 1 through 3. We have casino games, Castlevania games, Cave, a bunch of those, Centipede, ColecoVision over here with 140 games. I mean, this is just insane. So Commodore 64, I'm sure there's a lot there. It looks like well over 2,000 games. Amiga CD32. Wow. Contra. Crash Bandicoot. Let's jump into the Crash Bandicoot collection here. I just want to see how this is laid out. And I love how each version, like this was obviously a Game Boy Advance version, it populates into a Game Boy Advance. It shows you the cover art for this. But if we go up here, this one's a GameCube version, and it shows you the GameCube console. It shows you the GameCube jacket there, the disc, and then, of course, the video preview. So it really is put together beautifully on here. I love the way that this is set up. Wow, old school Java, wow. And then Game Boy Advance there. So this is the Crash and collab right there, like that. So wow, this is really sharp. I'm loving. I'm a big fan of things that have attention to detail. I mean, and look at everything here, from the theme of the UI all the way through to the way that the games are displayed. It's just really nicely put together. We have Daphne in here. Daphne's one you don't often see. So 17 Daphne games. Let's take a look at this. It's been a while since I've played any of these, but great titles in here. You're going to have your Dragon's Lair, of course, which is probably the most iconic Daphne game. Let's see if it's in here. Space Ace, Cliffhanger's another one. That's cool. There we go. Some Dragon's Lair. Very cool stuff. Definitely something for everybody. Road Blaster is very cool as well. There we go, Space Ace. I got that up there with Dragon's Lair, actually. Both great games. We'll keep it moving. So we got Data East collection. I like that they've gone in. They've put, just Data East titles here, although it just says 3 games there. So that would be, that's a kind of a weak one. Yeah. You would think there'd be a lot. Oh, Data East Classics. All right, so there are more. And that has 326 games. So that's pretty cool. Devil May Cry, we've got Donkey Kong. All right, we got to check out the Donkey Kong collection and the graphic opening up there. I actually want to go back to that because that looks pretty sharp. Nice. So it zooms out of right up on his nose there. You got the whole clan. I'm digging that. Very cool. So inside here, we have, let's see, we've got Donkey Kong Jr. here. We've got, did I go into the right collection? There we go. So Donkey Kong Jr., we've got 8-ball action here. So kind of strange. I mean, it's not all Donkey Kong in this one, which is interesting. There we go. There's all our Donkey Kongs. So, I mean, little minor discrepancies in here, but wow, loaded with Donkey Kong. Donkey Kong Konga's in here too. Wow. For GameCube. Great one. All right. We'll back out. So next collection is Doom. That's going to be all your Doom titles. 224 games in here. Incredible. Double Dragon. Earthworm Jim. And just seeing the graphics. I mean, on one hand, I say that it's a lot to comb through. I mean, we're just combing through here little by little, and there's so much to digest. But at the same time, like, it is pretty cool to see Earthworm Jim as its own collection in here with 24 games. It's cool to see Doom in here with 224 games, Double Dragon with 101 games. I mean, it's a lot to comb through, but it does look pretty sharp. All right, we'll keep it moving. We have fighting games here, arcade fighting games, Final Burn Alpha, which is a collection I dive into a lot. So over 6,000 games in there. Final Fantasy collection, Final Fight. Frogger. Wow. Honestly, like you can get lost just going through it like I am right now, just going down memory lane, seeing all these titles like House of the Dead. Let's go into this. I'm a huge House of the Dead fan. So inside here, actually, I want to go back again and just see how many House of the Dead titles there are. There's 18. Wow. All right. So we've got original House of the Dead here, and that's going to be for MAME. So that's your arcade version. And it looks like there's a couple different versions of that, which makes sense in this case. And then we have House of the Dead 2, and you will likely have different versions, I would think. All of these are showing up as MAME. So, all right, we're getting a little excessive here with how many versions of the same, but here we go. Here we go. We've got this will be the Dreamcast version here, I believe. It says Sega in the top left corner. It's not saying MAME anywhere. And then here's Sega Saturn version of the original. Two different versions. So, I mean, there are a lot of duplicates here. We do have Overkill, though. And what's this one? This is the, okay, that's the Wii version. All right, so we do have, up through Wii on here. But, yeah, I mean, there are duplicates. So this is the first that we've seen, blatant duplicates on here. At its core there's probably, closer to 10 titles because you have to figure, it's probably a little bit less than that. So there are quite a few duplicates in that one. Let's keep it moving. Wow. So Java is one I don't typically see. I actually want to jump into this because that's taken me back a long way. We've got Spider-Man 2 in here. Some Assassin's Creed. So these are obviously, old school PC. Pretty basic in terms of the graphics. They weren't basic at the time, but looking back, it's pretty basic, opposed to what we're used to these days. But that's cool. That's one I don't think I've ever seen Java in there before. We have a Kirby collection with 30 different Kirby games. It looks like 30 anyway. So I got a couple things on my screen. It makes it a little hard to read, but Konami, we got Zelda. So a Zelda collection here. And Zelda's got how many games? There's quite a few, 70 games. Wow. Light gun games. So for the light gun enthusiast, which is very much me, we've got a lot of light gun games, and I'm seeing a lot of rail shooters there too, which you could argue is not, doesn't belong in here, but I'm happy to have it in here personally. So 475 light gun games. Let's take a peek in here. And you're going to see that there's, okay, here we are in Duplicate City again. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 different versions of Police Trainer. There are different versions, but they don't differ enough to where I think we need 6 of them on here. Great game, though. I'm a big fan. We have Rail Chase in here, 2 versions of that. So as you take a look here, you can see we have a lot of duplicates, like Revolution X. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 different Revolution X's. Great game. If you're an Aerosmith fan, I highly recommend it. It's a great rail shooter. Weird 90s, rock and roll shooting collab, but it's a lot of fun. So this is how you quickly get to 100,000 games. You add, up to 6 of the same title in the same collection. I'm not a fan of that, but still, hey, if the games run, and I'm sure they do, that's pretty cool. Silent Scope, we've got 4 versions of Silent Scope, and it is the same version. Every one of these is MAME. It was released to different consoles as well, but every one of these is showing MAME. So we'll back out of this collection. We'll keep it moving. We've got all our MAME collections here. So this is really cool. We got 90s, we've got 80s, we've got 70s even. 4-player, 2-player, and then just your straight up, MAME collection here, which has over 11,000 games. So really, really cool stuff here. We'll keep it moving. We have another light gun collection. So it's interesting that we have multiple light gun collections. And these, maybe these don't have like rail shooters. Let's see. I don't really care, to be honest with you, but like we had Police Trainer before. Yeah, Rail Chase is a rail shooter game. So it looks kind of like a duplicate collection here. I would, in a perfect world, I'd like to see that, not exist. Like we don't need 2 and side by side, basically. It doesn't make much sense. So here we have all of our Mario Kart games. We got Mario Kart 64 showing up. This is the European version. But as we scroll through, we got Super Mario Kart in here twice. We've got Ooh, Techno Parrot. Now that is cool. This is a great way to play this game. Very different than anything else. So I'm really excited to see that Techno Parrot is included in here. I was wondering because I didn't see it on the listing here, but that's pretty sharp. We've got Double Dash in here, our car arcade GP, which is basically the same as what we just saw there. Mario Kart DS. We've got Mario Kart Super Circuit for Advance. This is really cool. So if you're a Mario Kart fan, you can go through the list here and say, hey, I want to experience this. I never played Mario Kart on Wii. Go ahead and dive into that. Then compare it to arcade, compare it to Mario Kart 7 or 8. You can really go through the history of these franchises this way. So we'll back out again. And there were 30 Mario Kart games in that collection. We'll keep it moving. We have Marvel vs. Capcom. That's a huge one right there. 13 games in there. Mega Man, Metal Slug, MSX 1, 2, and 2 Plus. Now we have Xbox. Here. Let's dive into Xbox with 627 games. That is the largest Xbox collection I've seen. And look at, it's laid out beautifully here. We've got 007 Agent Under Fire. I love the way that it morphs into a video preview with the jacket and the disc spinning. Just attention to detail through the roof here. This is my favorite right here, From Russia with Love. Love Sean Connery, so it was always fun to play as him in this game. That's my favorite 007 game, and I know it's not the most popular one. 187 Ride or Die, really a cool game with great graphics, especially for the time. 25 to Life is a wild one as well. But really loving what we're seeing here. I wonder if Halo's in here. If Halo's in here, that would be really, really cool. So let's hold down and see if we get to the H's. There's so many games in here. Look how long it's taking to scroll through here. And in a perfect world, I'd go title by title through this, but with over 100,000 games, we would be here for like a week straight. So let me hold this down a little bit longer. We're to F. Oh, wow. Gauntlet Legacy, Gauntlet 7 Sorrows. The Gauntlet, that's my all-time favorite franchise. Legends and everything beyond was just incredible. We got The Godfather here. So H will be coming up here, hopefully. So I'm seeing Harry Potter. I'm not seeing Halo, though. That's too bad. So we don't seem to have the Halo titles in here. IndyCar Series. If you're into racing games, this is a really fun game right here. Spent a lot of time on that. Performs really well. Legends of Wrestling 1 and 2 for the wrestling fans. Great games. All right, we're going to keep it moving, though. Xbox 360. How many? 116. We got to check that out. Huge Xbox 360 fan here. We've got Grid to start it off. Grid 2, Gears of War 2 and 3. And Judgment, Judgment's actually a really, really, really good game for that franchise. It's like one of those, I forget what you'd call that, like side story ones, but it's a great one. All right, so we've got Halo in here for 360, and that's actually, so we've got the this would be the anniversary edition for 360, but that's Combat Evolved. So we do have the original here. We don't have Halo 2, but we have 3, 4, and Reach. Reach is a great game as well. One of I would say it's up there in my top, probably top 3 or 4 for the Halo franchise, but we'll keep it moving here. Midnight Club Los Angeles is cool. Mortal Kombat versus DC Universe, great game. This is really, really cool. Now, this is a game that I've been meaning to try out. I've heard, oh yeah, see, that's where I go wrong. I love Mafia-style games, but this one I've heard is, what's the one with Scarface? There's a Scarface one for PSP, and I think it's similar to that. The Outfit. What is this? Never even heard of this game. That's the other cool thing about going through these plug-and-play drives. You find games once in a while that you haven't heard of. Like everything else here I'm pretty used to, but oftentimes you'll also come across something that you haven't played in forever, and it'll just kind of bring back that memory, and you'll find a new game to dive into and have fun with. So I always enjoy touring through these. I think, honestly, touring through them is almost as fun as playing the games. Because obviously, with over 100,000 games here, even though there are duplicates, how many of these are you realistically going to dive into? And that's where you get into the debate of, do you need this many games on a drive? Absolutely not. You definitely don't. But it is cool to have. So here's our Midway collections. Wow. So just seeing this brings back memories. And this was my first arcade game that I remember playing as a kid. So this takes me back, right? Just looking at this. And I play this game all the time still. It's still probably this and Cruising World, probably my favorite racing games to this day. But it's so much fun to see all this. So million Namco collections in here. We get to PC Engine CD-ROM, TurboGrafx, Super Graphics, Need for Speed collection. So 51 games here. You can go through the history of the Need for Speed titles. From the first one to the much later options, we have N64, 312 games, N64 Europe. We'll take a look at N64. It's one of my favorites to jump into. I love the background. I love the old school Sony CRT TV, the console down there with the controller, and then of course the cover art here. So it really just creates a fun and nostalgic experience here. All right, we got to see. Do we have the WCW games? That's my ultimate test at the end of the day. We've got GoldenEye. I saw that. So we have WrestleMania 2000, No Mercy, Attitude, Warzone, Revenge, World Tour, Nitro. We've got them all. Do we have them all? Is there one missing? I think that's all of them. Yeah. Wow, that's impressive. They haven't missed any wrestling games. They must have known I was going to tour through here because that's what I look for. All right, we'll back out. We've got arcade up here. We've got Nintendo here with 136 Nintendo classics. Then we have NES up here with 30 games. We have Nintendo DS here. We have NES here. So there's NES and just Nintendo Entertainment System. I mean, isn't that basically... Oh, it's in the Classic Edition. Got it. I'm just going off of the labeling here, but it's the Classic Edition, so makes sense that it's fewer number. We have hacked NES games as well in its own collection. GameCube. How many GameCube games? Over 600. Wow. All right, we got to check this out. I'm a huge GameCube fan. Bionicle. We've got Blood Rain. Got some Burnouts in here. Some Cabela titles. Call of Duty. Wow. Imagine when we were kids. Like, I mean, I used to rent games. That's how you'd experience, new games back then. And now it's like, we never imagined that there would be a game drive out there, 12 terabytes loaded with, everything, every game we could ever have played. I mean, entire collections just filled with every game ever released almost. I mean, this is insane. Wow. So we've got the Donkey Kong titles. I would imagine then we're going to have actually, we know we have Mario Kart Double Dash because we saw that in the Mario Kart collection before. So really just beautifully put together here. So we're going to back out of this one. We'll keep it moving. We've got Nintendo prototypes. Wow. There's a lot of stuff I've never seen in here before. Now, here we go. We got some Switch. So Switch games, over 60 Switch games. What do we have in here? Odyssey, Super Smash Brothers. ARMS is in every one of these. I see this game. That's how I actually found out about this game, that it existed, was from a game drive. But it's in every game drive. Got Animal Crossing, Flashback Classics. That's cool. So you can play old school games. Not that we really need it on here. I mean, some Batman. Contra, Nitro. This is still my favorite Switch game right now. The graphics on here are incredible, and it's just like basically a remixed everything's kicked up from the original, but I was a huge fan of the original back on the original PlayStation, so to be able to play it now, all these years later, but with souped up graphics and, all that, it really is a phenomenal way to enjoy it. Now I can't go back to playing it on PlayStation, though. So we've got some Kirby in here, Star Allies, Zelda in here, Luigi's Mansion 3 in here, Mario Tennis Aces. Wow. All right, let's back out. Virtual Boy, we've got Nintendo Wii. How many Wii games do we have? Wow, that is an insane amount of Wii games. And Wii emulation is incredible. I highly recommend it if you haven't played it. Now, another light gun collection. What the heck? 13 games in here. Why? Are they all Wii? They are. Okay. So why not put Wii light gun games on here? Like, why just label it the same as the other ones? Or did they? No, no, Wii's behind it. Yeah, I mean, they could have done better labeling, but it is what it is. We're nitpicking at that point. So 110 Wii U games. Let's kind of comb through here. We've got some Lego titles, Zelda titles, Mario Kart 8, Mario Party 10, Mario Tennis Ultra Smash, my favorite game for Wii U, Mario and Donkey Kong Tipping Stars. Really cool stuff in here. I mean, this is just loaded with so much. You'd need probably 10 lifetimes to play all these games. But we got WiiWare, and WiiWare separate for me is so amazing because so many times you jump in, you see like a stacked Wii collection on the game drive, you jump in there and it's all WiiWare games, and it's such a letdown. I like that they kept it separate. Now, Xbox, and we already go into Xbox. What's this? Oh, cool, it's Xbox Magazine. That's interesting. I've never seen that on here before. I mean, I'm not going to be combing through pages of a magazine on here, but it is cool that it exists. There's somebody out there that's really, really into that. I think it's cool. Open Bore, Outrun. So all your Outrun games in here. Wait, do we have the later Outrun games? I should have checked Xbox and Xbox 360 for that. Let's see. Or maybe even, was Outrun in Techno Parrot? It might have been. So there's a lot of this original version here that's where the duplicates come into play. I'm not seeing it for Xbox. So Xbox, there was an Xbox version that was incredible. And I believe it's actually worth some money too. It's one of the harder ones to find. But it doesn't appear to be in here. Pac-Man, 3DO, Phantom Phillips, Pinball. So there's 3 different virtual pinball. And these are incredible. I actually have a virtual pinball machine, but this is basically the tables that I have on it. So you have these really interactive, 3-dimensional pinball tables on Pinball FX3. FX3 is my favorite. Now, Moon Knight is probably one of the best ones. So definitely explore these if you're new to it, or if you're a pinball fan in general. It's very different than classic mechanical pinball, but check it out. I think you'll enjoy it. Pokemon. So I never got into Pokemon, but there are some cool games, but that's a big one for people, especially with what they go for like the originals. I mean, this is incredible. Run and gun games, Thomas Wave, Scum VM. I mean, there's very little that's not on this drive. So Dreamcast. And I keep jumping in here. I'm so excited to test these out, but 322 Dreamcast games. This is one of my favorite retro collections, and some will say it's not that retro, but this is from when I was probably 8 years old. Amazing stuff. I saw Gauntlet Legends, my all-time favorite. There it is, right there. And this version, and these are great too. So you can play as, looks like Vader right there. Giant Graham 2000, great game. Giga Wing. Insane. So we'll back out. Some more Sega collections, Genesis. I mean, this is just like never ending. We have the Sega Model 1, 2, and 3. This is where you'll find like your Star Wars arcade. Dirt Devils, great game as well. Harley Davidson game is fun. It's kind of like a crazy taxi, but you're on a Harley. You can pick your character, all that good stuff. Here's the Star Wars arcade. And there's always 2 versions on these. But great games. Graphically, just so ahead of their time. I mean, look at those graphics. Would you say that that's from 1998? I mean, it doesn't look like it at all. It looks so good. I think that would, if they released this game today, it would still be a major seller. The graphics were just so good back then. We'll keep it moving. We have Sega Naomi and Naomi 2. We have Nomad in here. So they really have just great assortment of titles. 306 Sega Saturn games in here. So many different Sega subcategories. You have Neo Geo Pocket Color, Neo Geo Mini in here, Sharp, all those collections. We have The Simpsons. Let's jump into The Simpsons. There's so many great Simpsons games. Um, and going back all the way to, NES. And I'm sure we have the arcade version. You have to have the arcade Simpsons game. That's my all-time favorite. Oh, Road Rage was great too. The only one that I think sucked was the wrestling one. The wrestling one was just terrible. And I'm sure that's in here too, but you could do without it. There we go. Here's the arcade games here, and there are multiple versions. I mean, look at how many there are. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 different Simpsons arcade in here. So there's a lot of duplicates, but it's still somewhat easy to manage. And of course, we've got Simpsons Bowling as well. All right, so we'll keep it moving. We've got Sonic in here, the Sonic collection. Oh wow, I didn't even realize we didn't get to the PlayStations yet. So you got PlayStation, PlayStation Japan, PSP Minis. Wow, subcategories of all the PlayStation. Then we have PS2. It looks like 2 PS2s in here, right? 625 in that one, and then over here we have 361. I'm not sure what the difference is there. I'm not seeing a difference. Oh, Europe. I didn't see the Europe under there. So those are European titles. So, do you need European and US? I mean, when they're making a product for everybody in the world to buy, I get it. But for me, I would never go in the PS2 Europe. I would just go in the regular one. So 23 PS3 games. Let's see what we have for PS3. Lollipop Chainsaw. All right. Ratchet and Clank. Got to have those. Ridge Racer 7, that's one of my top favorite games right there. Soul Calibur, a couple Soul Caliburs. Tony Hawk in here, Uncharted, a couple of those. Castlevania, Dead or Alive 5, some FIFA, some God of War. Grand Theft Auto, Kingdom Hearts. It's a good assortment. It's a good, and the cool thing is too, a lot of people get bent out of shape. Oh, it doesn't have this, doesn't have that. You can add more games. You can like Chainsaw, Lollipop Chain, whatever that one was. I'll get rid of that one. I wouldn't play that game. I have. It's not my thing. So I would get rid of games that take up space, and I would just put in games that I want to play. So if I wanted to add another title in here, like I'd add the 007 game for PS3 in its place, and then I can customize it. Now we have PS4. All right, so wow, I didn't expect PS4 on here. 157 PS4 games. Now, and I saw PS5s coming. These are going to be PC versions, like PS4 Full Throttle Remastered. It's a PC game. And all of these are going to be PC versions. It's not going to be true PS4. I don't know why they do that. I think it's bizarre, but at the end of the day, we get to play these games. So whether they're PC version or PS4, I personally could care less. But yeah, they probably should label it as just like PC games. It would just make more sense, and it wouldn't be false advertising. This is kind of false advertising when it says PS5. You have the console there, and then when you launch the titles like Elden Ring, it's going to be the PC version of it. There's only 2 titles in here, but they're good ones. And it gets you started with the collection. So again, you can come in here and say, hey, I want to add my own PC version of a PS5 game. Let me add my own, and I'll just, remove some of the games elsewhere to make room and accommodate it. All right, so we have Pocket Station. That's another one you don't see often. For me, I wouldn't play it, but somebody out there would. There's 101 games here. So for those that maybe had one of these and grew up playing the game, it's cool to them to be able to experience that. So Space Invader, sports games, Street Fighter collection, Super Mario collection, Super Mario World collection, Metroid collection, Super Nintendo, bunch of different versions. You're going to have the European titles, you're going to have the US titles. I mean, this is really super in depth here. So Tekken. I can't go past Tekken. Tekken. I was always a Tekken guy, more so than Mortal Kombat. So you get your original here, and here again, duplicates. 1, 2, 3, 4 different versions of that. The second one looks like, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, Wow. So 6 different versions of Tekken 2. Great game, but we don't need 6 versions of it, and it's not demanding to play either. So, and I know there's different, different sets and all that stuff, but like Tekken 3, there's different sets, but do you need different sets? Like, come on. It's the same game at the end of the day. Somebody's going to tell me it's not, but it is. Same with Dark Resurrection, Tekken 5, Tekken 4, etc. Tekken Advance is only one of those, but so this is again just right here shows you why you have over 100,000 games on here, but it's still a ton of games, and you can see how in depth they've gone with these collections. So really impressive. Techno Parrot. Let's see, Techno Parrot. Oh, how many games were there? There's 84 Techno Parrot titles here. Is that Outrun? No, it's Chase HQ. Got excited there for a minute. I love the Outrun game, but this is incredible. Now, if you're not used to Techno Parrot, dive into this first because you will love what Techno Parrot has to offer. It's such great graphics, games, gameplay, just top to bottom. The collection's great. There's games on here that I've played that I, under normal circumstances, wouldn't really gravitate towards, but they're just done so well and they perform so well. You do have to have a pretty, pretty beefy PC to handle them, like Mario Kart DX here. It's not going to work on like your average mini PC. Like you'll want something that has like AMD, AMD Ryzen processor and all that. You're going to want something a little more higher end, but it's definitely worth it. So we'll keep it moving. We have tennis games. I love tennis games, even old school ones like tennis right there. They're just fun, whether it's Game Boy or it's GameCube or Wii U. I've always been a fan of tennis games. Not crazy about tennis in general, but just tennis video games are fun, man. I saw Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles there, Tomb Raider collection. This is really it just keeps going and going and going. I mean, I'm doing this like a speed run through this tour today, and we're still at like 37 minutes right now that we've just been looking at collections, and I'm trying to keep it moving. But all right, wrestling collections, and that'll be the last one. Let's see what we've got on here. We know I've gone through quite a few of these already, but we've got PS2 with the backyard wrestling games. Those were intense. Battle Royale. We've got Body Slam. Wow. Just seeing the history of wrestling in video games. Now, Def Jam Fight for New York and stuff, kind of, I guess I can see it. See, that's a fighting game. That's not a wrestling game. So put that with like Tekken and stuff. ECW Anarchy Rules. So the ECW games, I haven't played these in forever. I'll have to go back. I was just with Justin Credible the other day, and he was talking about these games. There he is, Justin Credible, right there in the bottom right corner with Jerry Lynn. It's been so long. I'm a WCW guy, and then obviously love like No Mercy, WrestleMania 2000. Not so much the other ones for N64, but really cool. Fire Pro Wrestling too. These games are phenomenal, ahead of their time with the graphics too. Wow. The Legends of Wrestling. Some people hate those. I spent a lot of time playing them as a kid, so I always enjoyed them. Mania Challenge is fun. Matt Mania, great. Wow, just incredible. And you know what? I didn't see earlier because we didn't go through the arcade, but is WrestleFest in here? Oh, Legends of Wrestling Showdown. That's pretty good too. All right, let's see. Let's just see if WrestleFest is here. We're gonna have to hold this down. See, they put UFC in here. That doesn't go with wrestling, but it's all good. Now this game, where is it? Oh, that's not the one I was thinking of. Main event. That's the Game Boy game. The Super Brawl. That's what it is for Super Nintendo. Great game right here. All right, so WrestleMania 18. Oh, it's that version. See, I like the GameCube version. You got All Stars in here. Day of Reckoning. Great titles. Now, is WrestleFest in here? Come on. Let's see. Hopefully it is. Yeah, Superstars in here. There it is. Oh, it's not only in here once, it's in here 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 6 times. Cool. Hey, I'd rather have it in here 6 times than no time, so I can't complain too much. But that's how you get over 100,000 games on here. But pretty incredible stuff. All right, guys, we jumped into this 12 terabyte plug and play Hyperspin game drive today that has over 102,000 games on it. So it advertises 100,000. It's got 102. You can't get them for misadvertising. They're right in line there. But as I expected, there are a lot of duplicates on here. I talk about duplicates all the time in my game drive review videos. And what ends up happening is they just add too many of the same title. And we saw that like WrestleFest at the end. We were looking for that game and we found that it's in there 6 times. So if you start doing the math, you can quickly find out that of the 102,000 games, there's a lot of duplicates. So your true count is probably light years lower than that. But you know what? For $169 and change, I could care less. I mean, if it's 50,000 games, which I think it's probably more than 50,000 games, but let's say on the low end, it's 50,000 games on this 12 terabyte game drive. 50,000 games is a lot. What would that cost you if you were out there buying all these older games individually on, the resale market? You would spend light years more than $169. So I'm a fan of what it has to offer. For me personally, it's a lot of bloat, so it's a lot of collections that I'm not going to play. They're cool to see, but if I'm going in here to actively game on this drive, it's a lot of stuff that I have to, just kind of pedal my way through to find what I'm looking for. It's a challenge to find exactly what you're looking for in a timely manner on here. So what I would do is I would take this, I would go out and get, this is a hard drive in here, not an SSD. I would go get like a 4 terabyte SSD. I'd connect this over to it and I'd start pulling ROMs from this onto that 4 terabyte SSD. And I'd only pull over games that I want to play, as opposed to games that just look cool, to scroll through and remember. But if you're not going to actively play those games, it's just bloat at the end of the day. So that's what I would do. I would take a smaller SSD, which is going to be faster. You're going to have way better performance on that. I'd pull the games from this over onto that, and now I've just created my own custom setup that has exactly what I'm looking for, is easy to navigate, and performs much better. So that's what I'd use it for, but it does work perfectly as it is right here. So to each your own, and if you enjoy playing a wide range of games from a wide range of different collections, this is definitely what you're looking for. So let me know in the comments what you guys thought of this 12 terabyte Hyperspin plug and play game drive here. Very easy to set up. Not the easiest to navigate at times, but still packs a punch to say the least. Let me know what you guys thought about this in the comments of this video. If you want additional information, click the link at the top of your screen or in the description of this video. That's going to do it for today, guys. Thank you guys so much for your time. On your way out, please hit the thumbs up on the video and subscribe if you haven't already. Stay in the loop for all future videos. Thanks for watching. I'll see you on the next one.